Marjorie Taylor Greene has caused something of a stir by proposing a national divorce. Now, I think the premise here is that America is so divided that it's really hard to put Humpty Dumpty together again. It's hard to envision how we can be reunited. Let's think about it. There was, of course, a deep division in America before the Civil War that led to the Civil War. But that division was over one big thing, and that's a very big thing, but it's one thing, and that's slavery. By and large, North and South weren't all that different. Aside from that, of course, I realize they were fighting about tariffs and things like that. But nevertheless, our divisions today are on so many different fronts. Basically, the left and the right want a very different America. And again, this by itself may not point to the need for any kind of divorce or secession or going our separate ways, except for the fact that one side, the left, does not believe in live and let live. Because you could conceivably have people who are different. Let's say I and my neighbor are like at odds on every single thing. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff in his house. He's indoctrinating his own children with all kinds of nonsense. I'm like, hey, those are your kids. That's your house. You can do whatever you want. I don't want you to provide sex education to my kids, but as long as we maintain the distance, which is symbolized by the fence between our two homes, no problem. We can coexist and even have a sort of measure of cordiality. But when one side doesn't want that, refuses, and demands that the other side worship its idols, prostrate itself. They are doing depredations of your rights, your First Amendment rights, your rights to religious freedom, your right to assembly. They demand the ability to control your life. Then you have a whole different matter. So I think what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing is reflecting the frustration that people have. We don't want to live in their America, and that is a fact. Now, and we're not going to submit to it. So now I have a different solution than a national divorce, at least a solution that I think should be tried. And that is we build our America inside of America. We build our own institutions, so we don't go to their schools. We don't go to their movies. We have our own comedians. We live our own lives within institutions that we have created. We defend and protect those institutions, and we don't let them become infiltrated in the way that so many of our other institutions have become. But nevertheless, you have this proposal for a national divorce. And here's Matt Walsh. A national divorce isn't feasible for the simple reason that our divide can't be drawn along geographical lines. In other words, this is not a clear north-south divide. He says you got blue cities and red states, red areas and blue states. This would require massive migration and resettlement. So there are obviously some insuperable or at least very difficult practical problems here. What I want to address today, I think this is, I'm thinking to myself, what can I contribute to this topic? I'd like to ask this question. Is secession or national divorce, however you want to phrase it, ever constitutionally acceptable? Now, there are many people on Twitter, Adam Kinzinger, many other people on the left, who act as if, no, this is a settled matter after the Civil War. We can't even mention the word. It's ridiculous. And they think that there is absolutely no constitutional right ever to secede. And I submit that that's false. I submit that Abraham Lincoln knew that's false. And my text here is, well, first of all, it's the Declaration of Independence, but it's also Lincoln's first inaugural. Now, let me read a line from the Declaration of Independence. It talks first about how to secure rights governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. And then this line, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, in other words, when government is trampling on your rights, your basic rights, which, by the way, are not up for public referendum, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Abolish what? The government. And to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. So the idea that there's sort of no basic right to secede is falsified by the very core of the Declaration of Independence. And then we come to Lincoln's first inaugural, where Lincoln basically admits implicitly. He doesn't do it explicitly, and you can see why. Secession was already going on. But Lincoln basically says that the South is asserting that I, Abraham Lincoln, are depriving them of their fundamental rights. And you think Lincoln might say, well, I was elected, who cares? Of course I can deprive them of rights. They lost the election and that's that. I represent the majority, case closed. But no, he doesn't say that. He says the opposite. In fact, what he says is, okay, name a right that I have abridged of anyone in the South. Show me. So what he's saying is, if I abridged basic rights, the South would have a point. But since I have not done that, I've only been elected. I haven't done anything. I haven't, in the beginning, he hadn't even taken office, and secession was already going on. So Lincoln's point is, I have not in fact violated those rights, and therefore secession is unjustified. Secession in that case is merely outrage over having lost an election fair and square. But in our case, where it is legitimate for us to think that our basic rights are being abridged, are being trampled, and by the government. Think of censorship, for example. Think about restrictions that we've been living under for the last several years. So all of this is a way of saying that the landscape is different. And if your basic rights are being violated by the government, then you do have a constitutional. No, I'm not saying you should secede. I'm not saying it's practical to secede. I'm not saying that the people that you secede from will not try to put down that secession. I'm simply saying that from the constitutional point of view. In other words, is there a legal right in the Constitution and in the Declaration to secede? Abraham Lincoln answered to that question, yes, under certain conditions there is, and that answer remains valid now.